Hi, welcome back to the Simple Ground Homestead. I've been out here puttering along on something that I've been really excited about, and I found myself a pretty cool uh, lawnmower. And there's a little bit of a story behind it. First of all, we had ourselves a pretty cheap small lawnmower for the longest time because I have a scythe that I very much like to use, and I have that BCS tractor with a sickle mower on it that's been doing a really good job. But the thing that I've really used my, more conventional push mower for is collecting, the grass clippings to put out on the garden as a mulch. And I've kind of found that to be very essential and very useful for building up soil and other things like moisture retention. Guess I'm tripping over my words today. So our small lawnmower kicked the bucket, and I was a little depressed, and I didn't have a lot of money to put into a new lawnmower. So I've just been watching and making do without for quite a few months now. Well, this X Mark lawnmower, it's from early 2000s, showed up on Facebook Marketplace in our area, and I jumped on it because the person selling it had it for sale for 250 bucks. So I kind of want to tell you a little bit about my thought process lately. And it's a little bit out there. I'm wandering into my own headspace here where I understand everybody's got a little bit of a different opinion. So bear with me, and you can tell me about your guys' perspectives too, which I would imagine might differ a little bit. Anyway, I've grown a little bit tired of this mentality of, making things with the intention that they'll break down and you'll have to replace them. It shows up a lot in lawnmowers anymore. And I understand that it's a little bit twofold. On one hand, it's, it looks a little bit like a money grab. If you made a lawnmower that would last pretty much indefinitely as long as you took care of it, then you're only going to sell one lawnmower to each household. You kind of run out of revenue at some point because you've made something that lasts. I mean, in theory, that's kind of the way it looks. On the other hand, though, US consumers are used to looking for the best deal, the cheapest option out there. And to make a mower that's the cheapest option out there, you kind of have to design something that looks really awesome, but cuts some corners. And they won't last as long, And that's kind of a tricky thing. So I go looking at the newest mowers, and my options are something that might last 3 to 5 years that is relatively inexpensive, $200 to $800 depending on the whistles and bells. Or I go and I spend thousands of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars on something that is built to last, a commercial style mower that runs and runs and runs. Frankly, living this lifestyle that Audrey and I have chosen to live, we don't have that kind of money to spend on a mower, especially when what I'm using the mower for is mainly to mulch up the grass as compost. I could buy a lot of compost for tens of thousands of dollars, even thousands of dollars. So it doesn't make sense. This lawnmower came around and I realized that it fit my mindset. It is one of those mowers that was built to last. And because of a little bit of neglect and some time sitting in a garage, it wasn't running. But all that was needed was a little bit of time put into it, energy put into it, and I would have a mower that would last as long as I took care of it. Last as long as I bought new parts for it. Caveat is I have to pay for the parts, but the extra cherry on top was that it started at $250. I went and picked it up and bought it, brought it home, $250. I can afford to put some parts into it, especially knowing that every part I put into it adds time to its life, you know, and I could do it as long as I have parts. I could technically rebuild this thing as long as there are parts available, up to the point of putting in a new engine, which there I'm back into the thousands of dollars. But that's the point, is this is something that doesn't have to be replaced every 3 to 5 years. It just needs to be maintained indefinitely. The bright sun coming through the back of my shop isn't the best lighting for this, but I'll tell you about some of the goods and the bads of the mower. It'll explain why it was $250 to begin with. I think the best good I can tell you is that the bones of the mower are in great shape. No terrible rust. The hydraulic system is in pristine condition. All things considered, the engine isn't in the worst shape. I'm missing a muffler here. That's something I'll have to figure out. I opened up the air filter cartridge and there was no air filter in there. I believe that was because the person selling it to me was trying to get it to start. The carburetor was all gummed up and I sorted that out. Just an easy cleaning and everything was up and ready to go. The oil needs replaced. Oh, it doesn't show up very well on the camera, but that's pretty old oil. But I've got a new filter here that I'm going to I'll replace the filter and replace the oil. It'll be all ready to go. There are some cosmetic things that I'd like to improve. I haven't taken this cover off yet to see what condition all the belts are in, or spindles or any of the things under there. But the blades aren't in too bad a shape, just a little bit of sharpening and they should be ready to go. Spent a little time online, downloaded and printed all the manuals for the mower and the engine. It's got a good Kohler Pro series engine way back in the day, and I love that the manual has pictures of how to rebuild it, what to watch for, what parts to install, and how to get everything up to spec. Maybe during the winter I will have a little bit of a small engines course and rebuild this engine, see what it looks like. Great. Oh, that's a big old belt. Seems like it's in really good shape still. A little bit of wobble there. No wobble there. A little bit of wobble there. Wonder if that's bad enough to worry about. In the winter, I'll go through and check this a little better, maybe replace the spindle. But besides these bolts being kind of old and rusty, it's not too bad under here. The fuel line's pretty junky. I mean, it could be worse. But I'm draining out the gas. It's fresh gas because I just put it in, but I'm draining it all out and I'm going to replace this fuel line. So it's been a few days. I've been able to put 4-5 hours of drive time on this lawnmower, and I've been able to mow some of the stuff. I've worked on the roads along our place. We have got a little lawn, and working around some of the trees in the orchard. And then I was able to go over to my neighbor's place and I mowed his entire lawn just to see what it was like to do an actual lawn. And that lawnmower is definitely a tank. It's heavy built. I mowed my neighbor's lawn yesterday, and after 2.5 hours, it was a big lawn. My back's kind of sore. Hands are a little sore. It's definitely a beast. But it runs very well. For being as old as it is, it came right back into shape, and it runs pretty well. I'm still on the fence. Like, I really like the concepts that I've been thinking about on buying equipment that can be repaired indefinitely, and you buy it once in your lifetime and take care of it the rest of your life. On the other hand, though, it's still pretty complicated compared to finding a life that moves on with less stuff. But that's a different argument. In the meantime, I'm pretty pleased with the purchase, and I'm looking forward to getting into it later in the winter time and cleaning it up some. Now that I have a workshop up and going, I can get into these projects during the winter time, and I'm excited to try some of these things. I'm kind of curious to hear what all of you have to say about this kind of a concept. Do you have experience with various pieces of equipment or just regular everyday items that you feel were a good buy it for life purchase? And am I way off base? Like, is it better to buy things for their regular cycle or even a shorter cycle if it meant that overall you spend less money? I'm curious to see what you all have to say. But I'm going to wrap up my video here. Thanks for watching it, like always, guys, and thanks for supporting me so well. And hopefully I'll have more videos soon. I've got a few in the works. So thanks for being patient, and thanks for taking this journey with me on Simple Ground.